I don't know who will ever listen to this, but tonight I just can't hold it inside anymore. Maybe if I say it out loud, it will hurt a little less. My name is Emily. I'm 23 years old, and I work at a small restaurant in the middle of the city. It's not a fancy place, just a little cafe with yellow lights, wooden chairs, the smell of coffee and fresh bread every morning. People come and go, some smile at me, some don't even look up when I serve their food. And me, I always smile. Always. Because that's my job, right? But no one ever knew behind that smile there was a girl with dreams. Dreams that maybe one day someone would look at me like I was the only person in the world. I remember the first day I saw him. It was raining outside. The city was cold and gray. I was wiping the counter when the doorbell rang. Ding. And there he was standing at the door, shaking off the rain from his jacket. Tall, dark hair, eyes that looked like they had 1,000 stories behind them. He smiled at me. Just one smile. And my stupid heart, it skipped a beat. "Coffee black," he said. His voice was calm, deep, the kind of voice you don't forget easily. I nodded, trying to look normal, but inside, I was already writing a love story. Because that's what lonely hearts do, right? We fall too fast, too soon. He kept coming back. Every evening. Same table by the window. Same black coffee. Sometimes he would talk to me, ask me how my day was. And God, I lived for those moments. The way he laughed, the way he looked straight into my eyes when I spoke. It felt like, maybe, just maybe, I mattered to someone. I didn't even know his name until the third week. "Daniel," he said finally when I asked. "Daniel." I whispered it to myself all night like a secret I wanted to keep forever. I should have known. I should have asked more questions. But when your heart is hungry for love, you don't look for red flags. You only look for signs that he might feel the same. And oh, the way he looked at me sometimes. I thought he did. That was the beginning of something that would later break me into pieces I didn't know I had inside me. But back then, I was just a girl in a restaurant, falling in love with a man who ordered black coffee. Sometimes I think about those days, the days before everything shattered, how simple life felt back then, how alive I felt every time he walked into the cafe. Daniel, he had this way of talking like he wasn't just asking me about my day. It was like he really wanted to know. He would tell me little things about his life, about the books he liked, the places he had traveled, the music he listened to on rainy nights. And me, I would listen every word like it was a gift. Because no one had ever talked to me like that before. No one had ever made me feel seen. One evening, the cafe was almost empty. Just him and me and the sound of rain outside. He said, "You always smile, but your eyes, they look sad sometimes." I froze. Because he was right. I didn't even know what to say. And then he said softly, "You deserve to be happy, you know." My heart, oh God, My heart was beating so loud, I thought he could hear it. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. We started talking more. Sometimes after my shift ended, he would walk with me to the bus stop. Sometimes he would bring me coffee when I was tired. Sometimes he would just sit there reading his book while I worked. But his presence, it made everything feel warmer. And then one evening, I don't know why, maybe I was tired, maybe I was lonely, I told him about my life, about how I came to this city with dreams bigger than my pocket, about how I lived in a tiny apartment with peeling paint and broken windows, about how I wanted to study, to be someone, but life had other plans. He listened, really listened, and then he said, "You're stronger than you think." No one had ever said that to me before. And that night, I cried, because for the first time, someone believed in me. I didn't realize it back then, but I was falling for the man with the black coffee and the quiet smile, falling for the way he made me feel like maybe I wasn't invisible after all. But life has a way of giving you flowers with thorns you don't see coming. Because the night I thought everything was finally perfect, the night I thought maybe this was love, that was the night I found out the truth. You know, sometimes one moment, just one single moment, is enough to break your whole world apart. For me, that moment came on a Friday night. It was late. The cafe was about to close. Daniel was sitting at his usual table reading something on his phone. I was cleaning the counter, stealing little glances at him, like I always did. That's when she walked in. A woman. Beautiful, elegant, with the kind of confidence I could never have. She looked around, saw Daniel, and smiled. "Hey, you didn't tell me you were here," she said softly and kissed him on the cheek. I froze. My hands were still on the counter, the rag slipping slowly from my fingers. Daniel stood up, surprised, maybe even a little guilty. This is my wife," he said, finally looking at me. Wife. That word. It hit me like 1,000 knives at once. I smiled. Yes, I actually smiled. Because what else could I do? I felt my heart breaking piece by piece. But my lips, they still curved up like nothing had happened. I said, "Nice to meet you." My voice didn't even shake. But inside, oh God, inside I was screaming. She didn't stay long. She left after a while, holding his hand. And I just stood there, pretending to wipe the tables, pretending like my whole world hadn't just fallen apart. After closing time, Daniel came to me. He looked sorry. "I was going to tell you," he said softly. "I didn't want to hurt you." I laughed. Actually laughed. Because what else do you do when the person who made you believe in love turns out to belong to someone else? That night, I walked home in the rain. No umbrella, no jacket. Just me and the sound of my own heart breaking. For days after that, I couldn't even look at him the same way. Every time he came to the cafe, it felt like someone pressing on a wound that wouldn't stop bleeding.
He tried to talk to me.
He said things like, "I care about you and I didn't mean to hurt you." But caring doesn't fix a shattered heart. And meaning well doesn't make the pain any less real. Because the truth is, I had built a whole future in my head with him, and it disappeared in one single moment. Do you know what it feels like to carry a heart that doesn't even feel alive anymore? Because that's what I became. A girl walking, breathing, but dead inside. After that night, I stopped waiting for him at the cafe door. I stopped looking for his smile. I stopped hoping. But the problem with love is you can't just turn it off. It stays. Like a ghost. Like a scar under your skin. I remember lying in my tiny apartment, staring at the ceiling. The walls felt closer, like they were trying to crush me. The rain outside used to be beautiful. Now it only reminded me of the night my world ended. I kept asking myself, was I stupid? Was I blind? How did I not see it? How did I let my heart fall so hard for someone who is never mine? Days turned into weeks, but inside me, time had stopped. I would go to work, smile at customers, laugh when they made jokes, but it was all fake. Because every laugh, every smile felt heavy, like it belonged to someone else. Daniel still came sometimes, but now there was a distance. He looked at me with eyes that said, "I'm sorry, but apologies don't fix the emptiness in your chest." One day he said, "I never wanted to hurt you." And I said, "But you did." That's all, because there was nothing else left to say. Nights were the worst, because in the day, at least you have noise, people, work, something to hide behind. But at night, it's just you and the echo of everything you lost. I would sit by my window watching the streetlights, thinking about how someone can come into your life, make you believe in love, and then leave you with pieces too sharp to hold. Sometimes I wanted to hate him. God knows it would have been easier if I could. But how do you hate someone when all you ever did was love them? Here's the thing no one tells you about heartbreak. It doesn't end when the person leaves. It stays. It changes you. You're never the same person again. People think heartbreak ends when the crying stops. It doesn't. It stays with you in the quiet moments when you're pouring coffee or tying your hair or crossing the same street you once walked with them. For months, I carried the weight of his smile in my chest. Every memory like glass, beautiful but cutting me open from the inside. I kept wondering, what was I to him? A mistake? A moment of weakness? Or just someone to fill the silence in his life? I never got the answer. Maybe I never will. One evening, I was closing the cafe alone. The lights were off, only the glow from the street lamps outside. I sat at his usual table, the one by the window where he used to drink his black coffee. And I whispered, "I loved you, even if you never asked me to, even if you never wanted me to." My voice broke, but there was no one to hear it. That night, I cried one last time, the kind of crying that leaves you empty, but also a lighter, because maybe that's how you heal. Not all at once, but piece by piece, tear by tear. I realized something then. Daniel was a chapter, not the whole book. A painful, beautiful, unforgettable chapter, but not the ending. So I started living again. Little by little, I smiled at the sunrise. I bought flowers for myself. I even laughed at a silly joke a customer made one afternoon. It felt strange to feel alive again. Do I still think of him?
Yes.
But not with anger, not even with love, just with the quiet acceptance that some people come into your life only to teach you how much it can hurt and how much you can survive. So this is my story of love and loss and learning to breathe again. If you're listening to this, and if you've ever had your heart broken, I just want to say, I know it hurts. God, I know. But one day, the pain will stop feeling like home. And you will too learn to breathe again.